Hi, I'm your host, Marsha Florence for Just Ask. Today our guest is Caring Solutions. Hurry back and join us. Hi, I'm your host, Marsha Florence for Just Ask. Today our guest is Caring Solution. And in our studio we have with us Don Zavis, Director of Sales, and David Glancy, Director of Marketing. Hi, Don. Hi, David.
Oh, good evening.
Marsha?
Glad to have you on the show.
And I'm very glad to be here.
Thank you. Now, of course, we have to ask you this famous question. No one has a clue what Caring Solutions is. Even though we know it means caring, tell us about Caring Solutions.
I can, actually the partner that's not here right now is the one that came up with the name, so I can't even take credit for that.
Okay.
Caring Solutions specializes in working with clients that are handicapped, disabled, and elderly in the modifications of their homes, from simple ramps, grab bars, lifts, elevators, kitchen and bathroom modifications, right up to additions that would be modified or fully accessible, and in some cases fully accessible new homes that we may build from scratch.
Okay. Now, how did Caring Solution come about?
Well, I had an unfortunate opportunity to become experienced with disability personally. My wife and daughter were hit by a drunk driver in April of 1995. And after, my daughter was fine, fortunately. After about, 8 surgeries that my wife had, she had an opportunity to spend about 6 months in a wheelchair. And long before we ever considered Caring Solutions as an entity, I had an opportunity firsthand to see how difficult the world was to someone who had mobility-related problems. After a couple years after that, interestingly enough, my daughter and I, Cassandra, were watching television, and we happened to be flicking through the channels. I live in Farmington Hills, and came across Home and Garden Television. And Home and Garden Television had a gentleman in Texas who was in a wheelchair, and his wife, and there was a builder and an architect that were in the film as well. And they were talking about how difficult it was to find the products and services and concepts to do the modifications to this gentleman's home. So I said, geez, you know, there might be something here. I don't know what it is, but maybe something here. And, you know, started to take some notes, much to the dismay of my daughter who wanted to see Nickelodeon. And came in the following Monday and went to my partner at the time and said, you know, I've got an idea. I don't know really what to make of it, but I've got something. And kind of talked to him about that. And he had been at the Troy Library the day before looking for modification items for his then 99-year-old mother. And was having difficulty finding anything. So out of those very humble beginnings, Caring Solution was made.
Okay. Well, that's a good humble beginning, because on the average, do you think if your wife and daughter had not been in such an accident, would you have known or figured out in the future that you would want to do something like Caring Solutions?
I don't think we would have I wouldn't have had the depth personally. You know, when it became obvious, I looked and I said, well, there's something here. I'm not sure what it is, but there's something here. And we went to the architectural community and, you know, and said, you know, do you do this? And of course they said, well, we can. And I said, but do you? If I came to you and I was an ALS patient and I had this series of problems, would you know what I need?
Right.
And what we found is a lot of the clients, or a lot of the people that they had dealt with, would sit down with them and say, well, what do you want?
Okay.
A lot of our clients don't know what they want. They don't know what's
Right.
out there to refer to. So I don't think I would have the depth of personal interest that I have.
Okay. Yeah, it does take a different effect on it when it's, you know.
It's a vocation.
When it's close to home, it always seems to
Absolutely.
have a different effect on
Absolutely.
you. Now, David, we don't want to leave you out. As a marketing director, what does a marketing director do?
Well, basically, as a marketing director for Caring Solutions, I'm literally trying to make people aware of the services we provide. And as you well know, especially with this industry, there just aren't that many outlets that you can go to and talk to people about, this is a service, this is how it's done, and this is what we do, without it seeming like the 8 millionth sales call that you've had. So we have to be relatively careful about the way we present the company to let people know that it is a service, obviously we are for profit, but it is a service-oriented business.
Okay. So do you actually call clients, or how do you come about contacting clients?
A variety of different agencies. I mean, the most part, we work very, very closely with case managers from hospitals and discharge planners. Obviously, rehab facilities provide us with a great many clients. We do an awful lot of trade shows lately, and we found that to be very, very helpful because it allows us to establish a name and to network with other people who do and have similar interests. And so we can build kind of our own little internal networks to help, further the cause.
Okay. Now, in marketing, I'm going to ask you, is it difficult to sway people to understand that this would make their life easier, or the cost should not be a major concern, but the welfare of a continuing life services is available?
Well, you bring up two different points. The cost, depending on who you're talking to, is almost always a factor. If it's the client and he's trying to free the funding from his insurer, the cost becomes a factor only in the way the client sees the insurance is maybe not providing what he would like. And the insurance wants to provide a Chevy and he wants a Cadillac. That's one issue. The second one is if the client's paying for it out of their own pocket and they know that going in, they take an entirely different approach. And we've found that in my brief amount of time actually looking at just that scenario, the people who are funding their own decisions tend to be a lot more attentive to detail. They want what they want, but they're willing to consider other things as long as it works for whatever need they have. As long as the assistive technology is there for them and it functions and it does the job and they can see the worth, that's enough, generally.
Right.
Because the costs on some of these things can just become astronomical. I mean, bits and pieces of equipment that you would think can't possibly, a door opener, you can buy them for $20,000 or you can buy them for $400.
Okay.
Whose wallet are we opening?
There's a range.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a range and everything, but in essence, when a client is concerned about mobility or continuing life availability, they don't look at cost. They look at this gadget, this concept will help me get outside. This device will allow me to be more mobile inside my home.
Most assuredly.
And so I'm asking for the mere fact that there are people who are at home saying, wow, I like to contact these people, but I wonder do they cost a lot? And in the event, you may not get a phone call. So do you do any type of, in particular, publicity so that people will recognize you as knowing that they can?
Well, we do a lot of public relations, and we try to get on your fine show. I think this is an excellent forum to communicate many of these things. One of the things we found in dealing, and there's two groups, there's the elderly and then there's the handicap or disability population. I'll give you an example with the elderly population. Studies indicate that if I can keep a client at home, they will generally have a happier, healthier, there's just a whole myriad of things that come into play.
Right.
I have yet to have a client say, God, Don, I can't wait to get the Shady Rest Retirement Village.
Okay.
They just don't say
Right.
that. So we provide a venue. There's a level of caution. I think that they come in because they have a tendency to be very economically concerned. But we can show them where in today's enormous private pay scenarios for assisted care facilities, that staying at home not only is the economical solution, it's also the preferable solution.
Right, and that's mainly what they want. So how does one come in contact with you more or less? In other words, other than physicians, can I call you out the blue and just ask you questions, or
Absolutely.
look you up in the yellow pages and call you? Do you go out and make demonstrations?
Yep.
with them? Okay.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah, we do all those things.
Okay. That's supportive, because I think a lot of clients, if you're a homebody person and you're looking at TV, you don't want to have to make arrangements to go see the organization. You want them to come to you. Are you an organization firm? Where are you?
We're actually an LLC corporation, limited liability corporation.
Limited Liability Corporation. Okay. Okay. So how many staff people do you have that can go out and?
Generally, we try to keep one of the most experienced. If we're going out to do a site evaluation, which is what we call it generally, we try to have the most experience, which would be probably myself, one of our other partners, certainly David, would go out there, since we can really offer, I think, the best service in the field for the client at the time. We'd like to go to the job site because clearly that's where the problem is. If you've got an individual that's in a wheelchair or a walker, whatever type of accessibility concern, we like to see the environment that we're in, because we're very solution-based. And what that actually means is there might be 500 things that we could do to your house to make it beneficial. We're going to pick maybe the first, maybe 2 or 3 that are going to give us the biggest bang for the buck. We'll identify that as phase 1. I say this and every time I have an opportunity, that we will not spend anybody's money needlessly, nor our own in terms of times and resources. So we like to come out and try to pick the 3 or 4 things that are going to be the most beneficial. And then let's look for the most economical and logical solutions to take care of it.
Okay. So now what's the step-by-step process when one becomes your client?
I guess I'll field that. Generally, we'll get a telephone call that comes in from a source. It could be any one of a variety of ones, and we would actually set up the time to do the site evaluation. Normally, for about the first maybe 15, 20 minutes of the site evaluation, we really don't even talk about the problem. I'm more concerned about you. What is your life like? What do you do? What are you trying to accomplish? Is it I want to get outside and go in my garden, or I just want to be able to use my bathroom? Everyone has a different series of scenarios. We look at your prognosis. Physiologically, where are you today? Where might you be in a year if you have MS or any type of progressive potential diseases? We look at your financial situation. We look if there's a funding source in place. Is there someone that can potentially underwrite the cost of the modifications? Once we generally have all that information, then we actually do the walkthrough. We actually go to the area. So, for example, if it's a bathroom, we're going to physically go in the bathroom with the client and say, what types of problems are you having? I'm having a problem taking a shower. I'm having a problem using the toilet. I'm having a problem standing by the sink. But we're going to try to focus in specifically on what the particular problems are to look for the most viable solutions. We would do all the measurements. So we would provide a very detailed measurement of what the site has. So we know how far distance we have, how big the tub is, how, where the sink is positioned. We'll generally take either a narrative video or digital photographs that we use with the design team. So if there's ever a question about something 3-4 days in the future, gee, is there an outlet, where we're going to, put a wall? We can easily take a look, or where not we're going to put a wall, where we pull the wall out. We can easily take a look and say, yep, there it is. Now we know we have to move it a foot or 2.
So you can go in the home with the digital camera and videotape that space that needs modifying.
Absolutely.
And have it on file so that you can refer back to it in case you have a question.
Ready reference at any time. Absolutely.
It's instant detail recall.
Sounds good. Well, gentlemen, we're going to take a commercial break and come back with some more good information about Caring Solutions. We'll be right back.
Today, all around you, there are extraordinary people doing the most ordinary things. Spending time with their kids. Breaking a sweat at the gym. Finding something tasty to make for dinner. Living their lives. And while they have to put more effort into it than most of us, and more time, and a larger amount of will, you won't find them asking for sympathy. You won't find them asking for praise. Only for the chance to get up and do it all again tomorrow.
Tickle me. Hi, and welcome back to the second half of the show. For those of you who are just now joining us, we have with us Caring Solution, and our guest is Don Zavis, Sales Director, and David Glancy, Marketing Director. Now, gentlemen, we left off with some good information here, and I can't wait to get back. First of all, let me ask you a few things about some of the stuff here on the table and piggyback on some of the questions. What could this possibly be?
It's actually a water dam. Right now, it's very popular for us to take out bathtubs and put in roll-in showers. For clients that are in wheelchairs or have some kind of mobility-related issue, it's difficult for them to raise their leg high enough to get over the side of the bathtub. So we'll take the bathtub out, we'll put tile on the floor, tile up the wall so they can just easily walk into it and have a shower curtain that goes right to the floor. Well, one of the issues that comes into play is what happens with the water. How do you keep it contained into the tub area even though we'll slightly incline the floor? And this little device right here
your solution.
is the solution. You slide it out of your hand for a moment, and it has a little collapsible membrane here. So if you're in a wheelchair, for example, you can easily roll across it, but it will contain all the water. And it's short enough where it's very easy to get your foot over.
Okay.
And if you need something even a little bit more substantive, then they actually have a solid version as well that you can use.
Okay. So you use this when you take the tub out.
Mm-hmm.
You take the bathtub
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, the wheelchair recipient has a shower head. So this is like a shower head bathroom. now?
Actually, what we would do is we would actually have a handheld shower.
Right.
And it would be on a hose or a cabling, and that would enable them to get to the various parts of their body. And what we find is the transfer is much, much easier for a client who is in, for example, a shower seat or a shower chair, when they're able to bring it in, as opposed to, making some difficult transfer, trying to get across the tub
Okay.
or, go to a
Okay.
tub bench or
That
something
sounds
like
great.
that.
And this little blue bar right here, you want to reach that for
Oh.
me and tell me
Let me
all
catch
about
that
the
one.
blue bar?
Okay. This is a grab bar. And although it's doesn't look like much, I'll tell you, relate you a real quick story. We go out quite frequently to clients' homes, and we'll go into their bathrooms, and there on the side of the tub, we'll see two big holes, the grab bar laying on the ground. Unfortunately, the homeowner's not there because they're in the hospital, because they went to grab the grab bar and it wasn't put in properly, wasn't seated properly. A lot of times, a lot of the grab bars on the market are overly glorified towel racks. So when you hold that, if you can just kind of feel it, it's very heavy.
Okay.
And it's very solid. That's the type of product that you want to look for, because if you grab it in a distress situation, it has to work 100% of the time.
Okay.
And that's probably one of the least expensive, most beneficial things that you can find, is a well-constructed, properly installed grab bar.
This piece right here, I see it moves up and down.
Mhm.
What is it for?
It's actually for your shower head. You can lock
Oh.
the
Okay.
wand into that spot. And,
Okay. So
and-
lock
and-
down the thing
yep.
right there. Okay.
It just locks right in there, and that just happens to be a yellow one.
It looks like a blue toy.
It's a blue phone.
But normally you can get it in many colors according to your bathroom.
Absolutely. In fact,
Okay. Plastic.
Yep. One of the things we try to really do is a lot of our clients shy away from the very institutional look that a
Right.
lot of the modifications had been. You go in the restroom at a local facility, and there you have that
Right.
aluminum or steel, and clearly that's still a very positive. But now there's bright colors. They're constructed in
Right.
such a way where they're not as obtrusive as they were in the past. And I like to use that example because it is such, and I'm a Michigan fan too, so it's such a real bright, real
Okay.
vibrant color that goes along with it.
Okay.
It tends to make a nice impact.
I would think by now a lot of our disabled population would be beyond the fact that this looks medical or anything. But you are right.
Oh.
A lot of people are like, oh, that silver thing
Yeah.
in the bathroom.
Oh, yeah,
It's got to be a medical ramp.
Yeah.
And, and it seemed like, well, with the population of disabled people steadily growing, due to various disabilities, that the color of something shouldn't matter, but we still are color conscious,
Absolutely.
clothes conscious about everything
Oh,
that
yeah.
we come in contact with that will stigmatize the fact that
Absolutely.
you are a person with a disability. So hopefully when they see this, this is a good one. What's this right here?
Actually, this has a story behind it.
You've got to give them the full
I have
story.
The full story. This actually saved a local insurance company about $10,000. We had a client of ours that lived on a lake, and they had thought he was an avid boater, and they had thought that the only way that they could get from the gentleman's deck, he was in a wheelchair, to where his dock was to put in a very, very expensive sidewalk. Now, if anyone who's done any cement work in the past knows when you put cement and water and settling, it's just constant problems. So they were looking at this, $11,000 sidewalk, and they brought us in desperation and said, well, geez, we don't want to do this. What can we do? This is called beach rings, and this was actually manufactured for the food service industry. If you were on a golf course, for example, and you were having food catered at the 13th hole, they would bring these interlocking tiles
Okay.
in, and they would lay them on the ground, and this is what they would push the food service carts across. Well, we were able to, for about $900, do what the option would have been, around $10,000 to $11,000. At the end of the season, we just pick them up, stack them in the garage. They never crack. They always work. And I like to use this to illustrate the fact that not everything is expensive.
So is this what you call some of the things that are, I wouldn't want to use the word cheap, but not as costly to
This
modify?
is a less costly option.
Absolutely.
to,
So is it cost effective?
Oh,
Is that
without
what-
question.
Yeah.
In this
Okay.
scenario, the only other option was between a $10,000 and $11,000 sidewalk.
And these things must clip on together. 'Cause I see-
They actually do. They have little
Hooks.
holes and pins on it. They interlock together and lay on the ground. The nice thing about them is it doesn't break. They don't chip.
end of the season, you can pick this up, remove it, and you're
Absolutely.
done.
And these
Whereas
are
the sidewalk, you know it's going to crack.
absolutely, and these are worthwhile for any scenario. We sell a lot of these to clients
So
that
it
just want to
actually
be able to
allows the
maneuver.
wheelchair to move more smoothly along the way
Correct.
of a person's
Absolutely.
walkway.
And this could be on sand, it could be on rock, gravel, grass, dirt.
You need to take it with you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We've got many clients
Now,
to do that.
David, what is this nice piece of tile in front of you?
Well, this is basically it's a surface we do a lot of obviously shower and bath enclosures, and what you'll see is a lot of times you'll see people mounting things onto drywall wall surfaces. Green board is a construction term. The problem with that is it's similar to what Don was suggesting with the towel bar. If you have to lean on this, if it's not into the wood, it's going to break. It's just going to pull out. Most of these racks, these grab bars, are usually 18 inches long. Your construction, your studs are 16 inches on the centers. So we have is a honeycomb back surface on this. And basically what it does is it just allows you to mount anything, any size, any length, to the back of this, and it's an epoxy resin. There is essentially no way you're ever going to break this. And it's just very, very strong, very lightweight, and it can be put any finish over the top.
So when you replace that's actually like replacing a wall, a bathroom wall?
In a lot of
It
cases,
could be a section. It could be, for example, along a bathroom run. So what you've got is a surface to mount to.
Okay, 'cause I just want to know, my mother has yellow, whatever, plastic
Yep.
things in the wall, so we actually can take that down, put this up.
yeah.
But
And
then
they
we
actually
have
can
to
make this
replace
to
the
look
whole
like
wall.
the yellow
Well,
things.
a lot of it depends because, and I'll give you a quick example too. A lot of cases, grab bars seem to be relatively easy to put in, and conceptually they are. A couple screws, you put them in. It has to work 100% of the time, and the velocity and force that a person in distress or falling can exert on a surface
Right.
is incredible. It's amazing the studies that we see. It has to work 100% of the time. So we want to make sure that we have a rock solid place to put it, because a lot of times the difference between that grab bar is a broken hip. It could be any one of a series of physiological problems, and it's exacerbated by clients that are already coming to us
So
with problems.
You already think you're safe, you took your shower, you want to grab the grab bar, just to, step
Yep.
out on, and all
Absolutely.
of a sudden it comes out the wall.
Right.
And that's got to be hard. So this type of device or piece of,
Yes,
okay, will help support the grab bar.
absolutely. And it supports a variety of things. It could support shower chairs, a variety.
Okay. And we have a window here?
Yes.
Actually, yeah. What we found is that for a lot of instances, the handicap may have difficulties opening windows. And this is basically just a device to kind of illustrate it. Most windows operate, obviously, up and down. It's sometimes very difficult for someone in a wheelchair or with some type of physiological difficulty. It's difficult to pull that motion.
Right.
This can be mounted, obviously, any way you want. Just like a door wall, for example, you could open it sideways. Just different uses for the same technology. And it locks into place. And obviously, we can do this any type
So
of
it can be
material.
up, down, square,
Yep.
down.
Well, a lot of the things that we find and we recommend for our clients is as they're changing it. If you're going to be changing the windows in your home, and you might be in your 40s or 50s, but if you're planning on being there a length of time, clearly into a age where these things might be a concern, you want to make these wise purchases. And a lot of times, casement windows, side-to-side windows are clearly the way to do
Universal
it.
design issues come into play. And that's just a very inexpensive, easy one to do. If you're already going to be replacing the windows, if you think far enough in advance to mount them in such a way, whereas if you know your disease is going to progress or you know your condition mandates that this be an easier way to use it, there's your solution. And you haven't had to spend any more money. It's
Make
just
too
you
many
had to have the
changes.
forethought to say, I better mount these this way. And that's it. It's just that simple.
Now, what's this new component that you've added to your company?
Well, I guess that's me, or at least
Okay.
to some small degree me. We're doing a lot of seating and mobility issues. There's a sizable quantity of people out there who need mobility. And for whatever reason, the insurance companies are really stepping back from some of the more custom work. And unfortunately, not everyone fits into a standard, open the box and roll it underneath them chair. There's a whole variety of products out there that accommodate for different levels of postural deformities. Scoliosis, kyphosis, bent spines, different leveled hips. And the business is there. We just have to learn how to better serve that end. And that's part of my role. My background is as a rehab technology supplier. I do wheelchair seating and assessment.
Okay, now when you do that, is it for the home or is it for the car or is it for all?
It can be for all. We've done Well, I've done people's boat seats. A guy has a cigarette boat. He wanted a chair that he can drive his boat in very comfortably.
Okay.
It was actually a vacuum-formed, custom, very intimately fitted to his shape. And what it does is it offers perfect postural support. It spreads the weight of his body over as much and as great a surface area as possible to reduce any chance of pressure
Now,
sores.
that's got to be unique in itself because a lot of people are concerned about mobility to get around, to be more independent. And with that added extra, component to your company, I'm sure that's got to be a plus because it's one thing to come in the house and fix things for me, but now I want to go outside. So, my chances are driving my car, or the chances are somebody have to wait till somebody picks me up. I think a lot of structural businesses, restaurants, art institutes and all that, they may be old, but don't you find it will be more cost efficient for them to have companies like yourselves come in and give them a dual diagnosis of what would be feasible for them to add on to their facility?
Very much so.
Yeah.
In fact, that we find that the ones that are very forward-thinking, that are taking into consideration the unique needs of the disabled, whether it be for ramps or lifts or elevators or availability for chairs or assistive technology for interpreters, you name it, they're clearly positioning themselves for the future.
I would hope so. And I remember, Don, we talked before about the monitor system where you can be in your home and have a monitor. Tell us a minute or two about that.
There's a technology in place right now for that originally was developed for the daycare industry, where you could be at your terminal at work, for example, and you would dial into a telephone number at a local daycare facility that has an on-active camera, and you could actually through the internet see through the eyes of this camera, so you could watch your son or daughter, playing cowboy in the corner for all that matter. Well, the same technology is now slowly but surely becoming applicable to a residential application where, say, for example, a mother, father, some loved one could be 3,000 miles away, and you could outfit the home with a variety of these closed-circuit cameras that are activated digitally by internet access. Now, I don't want to create the perception that, Big Brother or anything like that, because there's certain auditory alarms that come out before the cameras are actually activated, but it's clearly a better alternative than if you've attempted to call your mother 5 times and she hasn't answered the phone. She could be potentially in a pool of blood as opposed to, an activated camera. So it's a graphic representation, but that's the reality of our world.
It's realistic.
Absolutely. That is the reality of our world.
So I could be at home in my home, and there is a monitor system that allows me to key in my mother's phone number. And
well, not her phone number. You'd actually key into the internet into an active camera that would be there.
And the camera will be in her house, positioned somewhere, and you can have as many as you want. Or okay, so if I'm looking for her in the kitchen and she's not in the kitchen, I can click and go into the bedroom or something
camera
like
two,
that.
camera three.
If you choose.
Now, that's a great idea, but it'll take out some of the personal feelings for
Well,
that will affect the household.
What ends up happening, and that's why I'm very clear in the explanation to say that there's a rather large audio alarm that takes place prior to the activation of the camera, because, there are certain related privacy issues that need to be dealt with.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, gentlemen, you gave us an ear and an eye full, and I'm sure that our listening and viewing audience will definitely, give us a call here at the station if they want to get in contact with you and find out further more about Caring Solutions.
Absolutely.
We were very impressed. I can guarantee you that we are
thank
very
you.
impressed.
That was very kind of you.
It's more companies like yourselves that need to be presented so that our disabled population and elderly population can have more freedom, from in and out and about the homes instead of always having to wait and depend on someone else. So feel free to come back and join us at any time.
Thank you. That's very kind of you.
Thank you very much.
Everyone's very kind of us.
Well, thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if anyone's interested in calling Caring Solution, give us a call here at the station, and we'd be more than happy to forward the information to you. Our number here at Just Ask is 248-988-0250. That's 248-988-0250, and we'll provide you with the necessary information. But, as I always say, if you know someone with a disability, don't be afraid to ask. Just ask. I'm your host, Marsha Florence. Thank you. Good night.